Friday. Friday, 9 a.m. I'm puking in a trash can again. Just took a Zofran. These are Zofran. It's working a little. Got a piece of toast coming. Every morning like this, for doctors, since childhood, since mother was giving me extra large medications of Epicac and messing around with pills that are dangerous. At the age of 16, I started puking every morning with my medication, antibiotics mixed with other medications, plus I had just threw up in my mouth. Um, so at the age of 16, I was already underweight, having a lot of stomach problems. When I went to the doctors and told them I was vomiting for a whole year straight every morning, and milk seemed to help a little bit in the morning is all I knew. I told the doctor this, that I'm vomiting, it's painful, it's making me cry, and milk seems to help every morning. The doctor said, then just drink milk every morning and we'll up your doses. So he gave me more psych pills, they gave me more pills, they kept me on the antibiotics, and they told me just to drink milk every morning for the rest of my life. And that's where the problems come in. I never got medical treatment because my mother was bringing me to psychiatrists, and I was vomiting every morning, bumping in the furniture, having seizures, had a neurological disorder, was underweight, was dangerously underweight, couldn't eat, was getting food poisoning, wasn't clothed properly, had people trying to take my money, my future, wasn't getting a proper education. I was getting drugged. I was getting pills that I wasn't prescribed. I was getting over the counter medications being given to me improperly. When you do all those things, it causes permanent damage to your child's body. So, now I have to live my life with a fucked up stomach for the rest of my life thanks to my mother and my father's neglect. Yes, my mother's actions and my father's choices. I was feeling this at age 16, 15, and I feel it now. I was feeling the neurological disorder when I was falling down and teachers were talking to me about it in Westford at age 7. I was feeling it when I was putting on jackets in Texas at the age of 10. I was feeling it when I had a seizure from the cold outside in New Mexico at the age of 10 and 11. I felt it when the fireworks and the breeze went by in Maine at the age of 12, when it sent me to the ground, screaming in pain, shaking on the ground in front of my parents. No emergency room, no doctors needed, according to my mother and father. Just more vacation time, more beach time. They have to sell their house. They don't got time to bring their son to a doctor to look at why he's falling on the ground, seizing, shaking, covering his ears in pain. They don't got time to listen to him. No, they'll just bring him to a psychiatrist and drug him some more. That will fix everything. So, anyways, now we're at age 12. Oh, my stomach. Um, we get to Massachusetts. My mother's giving me more drugs, more pills. I'm bumping in the furniture, and she's calling it self-harming. Yes, I got scabs all over my knees, legs, shins. I'm bumping in the bed frames, tables, doors, all different types. Teachers are talking to me about it. Friends are talking to me about it. Family members are talking to me about it. Now I get brought into the living room in front of my mother and father, and they ask me why I keep on bumping in the furniture or why I keep on having bumped shins. And I tell them it just happens. I'm just a normal boy, I guess. I don't know. I just walk and I just bump into stuff. That's normal, I guess, right? Then my mother goes nuts, starts trying to belittle me, starts trying to get more drugs put into me. She starts trying to create one of her fantasies again. So what's this fantasy this time? Oh, my mother says it's self-harming. I'm trying to scrape my knees with a knife or something on purpose. She comes up with this big fantasy that I'm self-harming on my shins. Yes, all these scabs from bumping into different bed frames, tables, doorways, stuff like that. I'm really taking like a brick or a rock or a knife, or who knows what my mother's fantasies really were like, but she says that I'm doing it as a self-harming and I'm trying to cut or harm myself. Meanwhile, there are no cuts on my shins. There are just bumps and bruises from bumping in the tables. So this makes no sense. My mother's just coming up with another fantasy out of thin air, so that way she can drug and medicate me some more. Meanwhile, my father's over there shaking his head going, this makes no sense. Zach says that he has bumping in the stuff like a normal kid. I believe him. What's this self-harming stuff you're talking about, wifey Patricia? And she goes, I don't care. You don't know it like I do. You don't know this. But he is self-harming. That's why he has all those scrapes on his shins. He's suicidal and trying to scrape his own chins. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's self-harming. We need to bring him to a psychiatrist and drug him some more. We need to give him more pills. And while we're at it, we need to give your other son some pills too. Yeah, that Tim of yours, he needs to be drugged seriously. He needs to be medicated. And you know what? Maybe even Seth. And she starts talking about drugging the whole family. Oh yeah, we need to bring Zach back to the psychiatrist. Tim needs meds, what she said right in front of my father. Tim needs meds, Tim needs meds, Tim needs meds. Yeah, he has an anger issue. What he needs is anger management skills, not medication. And my nephew does not ever need meds, ever, ever, ever. That would be a dangerous decision to try to give him some medication he does not need. And me, because I'm bumping in the furniture, because my mother gave me a neurological disorder and OD'd me and fucked with pills for so long, just because I bumped into a table does not mean I'm self-harming. If I am not purposely, if I'm trying to walk into a room and you hear me go, oh, fucking damn it, and then my shin has a bump on it, that is not self-harming. It only takes a lunatic to come up with that bullshit. And yes, my mother was a complete lunatic. And she acted like a lunatic right in front of my father many times. Like, here's another one. I got sent to the emergency room. Why? Because I was having headaches so severe that they were sending me to the kitchen floor screaming in pain. Why was I having these headaches? It's a side effect from the medication. I wake up with headaches, severe hangovers, and other headaches from the medication, but sometimes they come severely out of nowhere later in the day after they've worn off. The medications cause that, and I was able to figure that out after being drugged for 10 years. I was able to figure out if I stop the medications that cause the headaches, then I won't have headaches. Very simple. If I read the paperwork and learn what my mother's putting into my body, then everything makes sense. If you just use the actual logic and information that's in front of you. If my father just listened to the pharmacist that was handing him the pills to give to his son, it would clearly say right on the paperwork, these depressants can cause depression and suicidal thoughts. These downers can cause drowsiness and sleepiness. These can cause headaches and hang-ups. If they just looked into some of these things. But no. Instead, I'm screaming on the floor. I'm in the emergency room and they're prescribing me Vicodin. And they give me a PRN for Vicodin in case these headaches come back. And they are going to come back. They do come back. I don't deal with them with Vicodin. I find a different way to deal with them. But at this time, the emergency room is giving me Vicodin. My mother says she doesn't want them to be improperly taken, so she's going to take them to her room and she's going to stash them away. I don't care. I'm only like 15. I come to find out my mother's popping all my Vicodin. And she gets caught red-handed with her hand in the cookie jar, popping her son's medications that are still needed. When I tell my father this, what do you think he does? He goes upstairs, asks his wife, are you taking your son's Vicodin? She says, yeah, only one time. So what? So what? So what? Yeah, so what about it? Then my father goes, see, it's only one time. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing it. It's all your fault. We're going to punish you, Zach. What did I do? I just saw my mother do something wrong. I didn't know that what am I supposed to do? Stick a knife in my eyeball and blind myself? I mean, the first time I saw her, I wasn't looking at her seeing it. I just saw her going into the closet taking pills. Then I counted my pills and there was pills missing. I want my pills not to go missing. They're my pills prescribed to me by a doctor. They're not meant for my mother to go have fun times with. They're not meant to be mixed with alcohol. But yet that's exactly what's happening. My mother's popping my pills. No, my father punishes me with my mother and tells me that I shouldn't be watching her. that I shouldn't have eyeballs, that I shouldn't have seen my mother do something wrong, so I am the one to blame. Once again, everything is the son's fault because the mother is doing something wrong. I have hundreds of these examples of my mother acting completely nutty in front of my father. Completely insane. Not a mother. This is somebody who's a drug addict and wants to profit or doing something wrong, clearly. Somebody who's trying to do something wrong and trying to hide it with stupid rhetoric like, it's only one time, or don't pay attention. No, it's a fantasy. I don't remember that. It didn't happen. No, 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 it's his fault. That is avoiding responsibility rhetoric. Anybody can use that. If you tell me I stole your car, and I only stole your car one time, and I told you, well, I only stole your car one time, are you still going to be mad at me that I stole and crashed your car? Is that a good excuse? I only did it one time? Does that taking responsibility for your actions and then turning around and punishing your son because you did something wrong and then watching your wife do all this and belittle your son right in front of you because she decided to take her son's Vicodin, something that is out of the son's control? All he did is report back. And these aren't her meds to be messing with. How about if I need them? I'm still on all these drugs. I'm still confused. My mother's still drugging the shit out of me. I'm still vomiting in the morning. I'm still getting headaches. I'm still having a lot of problems. And I still do not know what's going on. Meanwhile, my mother says, you need these medications for life. You need these medications for life. Don't ever stop taking these pills. Don't ever stop taking these pills. You need medication for life. You need medication for life. Don't ever stop taking the pills. Don't blame the pills. Don't ever blame the pills. I don't want to hear side effects about the pills. That is just hypochondriac talk. If you look at the side effects, then you think you have them. If you look at the side effects, then you think you have them. Don't blame the meds. Don't blame the meds. You got to take pills for life. You need those pills for life. You need those pills for life. Meanwhile, the doctors, when I report the symptoms and I get a good doctor, they tell me, oh my God, your mother and the doctors you were working with were killing you. Were killing you. Yes, they were absolutely trying to get you killed. Your doctors, when you went in there complaining about the symptoms from the Seroquel and the Thorazine, him doubling your doses and keeping you on it for another year is not a good idea unless the mother has already pushed for you to be a cash cow for Big Pharma, which my mother and father did. I've had just about every pill put inside my body. Yes, from the age of 5 to 20, there's over 40 different psych or heavy, dangerous medications that I have been on one time or another. Everything from Thorazine to Haldol, what's a generic for Thorazine, to Zyprexa, from Xanax to Ativan, all the way to Ritalin and Adderall, down to Seroquel and Trazodone, down to Risperidone and Lamictal. All those meds I've been on for years off and on. She was playing cocktail pills with me. You know how you got those phone games today? Well, my mother didn't need phone games. She had pills and an adopted son to play with. She would just go to the doctors, get a bunch of psych pills, and play her pill game. You've heard of Candy Crush. This is called Pill Crush Your Child's Future. That's the game my mother played. It's called Pill Crush, crushing your son's future with pills. It's a good game my mother liked to play. Not for me. It's a terrible game that gets people killed and causes a lifetime of pain and suffering. But my mother had a lot of fun fucking around and playing doctor. And my father allowed it to the very end. It's part of why she died. She died the last day I saw her. She was 20% of her liver working, saying that she wanted to come home from the hospital to see her family. Meanwhile, blowing past her family the first minute she comes in the door, running to the liquor cabinet and grabbing herself a martini with only 20% of her liver working. The father running to the kitchen away from the situation. Meanwhile, the son has to go to the father, tell the father to handle the situation, and everything is just all fucked up. That was the last time I saw my mother. Drinking, 20% of her liver failing, saying that she wants to see her family while blowing past her family. So yes, that's where I'll end this, because I'm going to puke some more. I can feel it. I worked myself up talking, going through my PTSD memories, talking about the memories I have. I'm now seeing some of these things my mother did to me. I'm picturing them. I'm remembering them. and I'm already sick to my stomach. I took a Zofran, so that's supposed to be helping, but I feel like shit.